need to be able to create an environment where we can talk about where we're coming from in terms of our values. Talk about abortion, you know, talk about the differences amongst us. Can we tolerate? Can we allow ourselves to disagree about euthanasia, about abortion, about homosexuality, about all these very controversial things? Okay? If we cannot allow ourselves to be different and still to talk and to care about each other, how in the world can we respect the differences of culture, religion, spirituality among our clients? And if we can't respect it, we can't work with it. And we lose a vital source of strength.
Sure.
A follow-up question to that. How might you see some of those issues surfacing in the session that you just completed, like for future sessions?
I don't know, you know, because I'm not, see, it's like I'm not going predetermined, this is where I'm going in terms of their spirituality or their family structure. Where's the pain? Let's begin working with it. Economically, I'm going to work with whatever I need to work with in order to get this to happen. And I'm not going to go fishing beyond where I need to go. Now, if we get to a place where this isn't working, I will begin to ask questions. It's not uncommon that I'll get with people and I find there's just nothing in their lives. I mean, how often I hear people say to me, I just feel empty. Well, one of my questions after that is, hey, do you have a spirituality? Yeah, is there anything in your life that gives meaning to your life? But that's only after I get to a place where I need to go beyond what they're already presenting. I'm not trying to manufacture issues for people.
When you talk about religion and talk about spirituality, and you know, I'm just wondering, what are when we see people who are so dissimilar from us, we see families that maybe are of have very, very different beliefs. What are the pluses and the minuses of that when you're working with families? And I could see that you could get brought in very quickly if you were too similar. And if you're too dissimilar, you don't have a clue about what's going on. Any comments on this similarity versus dissimilarity?
Yeah. And then I have to talk from my own bias.
You did earlier about pancakes, you know, that you kind of re-identified.
My own bias is I go in with the assumption that we all have a spiritual self, you know, and I go in with the assumption that we all need to find some meaning in our lives that transcends, you know, the money that's in our pockets, you know. And so I go in with the assumption that there is a fundamental similarity.
Okay.
So I'm looking for something of me in that person to resonate there. If I don't find that, I'm lost.
Universalization.
Yes, I have to find that. If I can connect with that, then I can deal with any difference. That gives us a platform from which we can then talk about differences, because there are differences between the most intimate people in the world. You know, you can have a husband and wife have a perfect relationship. Hopefully they're also different. You know, and hopefully they love each other across their differences. Well, that's just a universal phenomenon, but you have to find the common platform.
It's obvious, beside just the structural piece, that you're very interested in the person of the therapist. What thoughts do you have on the development of the therapist working with a family like this? How would a therapist be developed or trained or encouraged along in their own growth?
I'm trying to make the bridge between this family and the person of the therapist. You know, I'll just say a little bit about the experience for me with this family. Maybe that'll be a place where I can start. Okay. I don't know that I would have been able to do what you saw today 20 years ago. I think I needed to be able to get to a place where I could be vulnerable with other people and not control a situation with them. Not know. Not feel like it's all up to me. and to be able to let go and feel like, we're sailing in this thing together. And I'm quite ready to be confused. I'm quite ready to care. I'm quite ready to be hurt. Okay. I need to let go of protecting myself, so that then when I'm with you, I can allow you in. Even though you may at first scare me a little bit, like Adrian did, it's a little bit too rambunctious. Even if you might intimidate me, like Pam did at the beginning, she's not going to talk. She's not going to cooperate. She's going to frustrate me. I'm going to look like a bad therapist. Well, that's okay now. This is a young woman. That's more important than whether I'm a good therapist or not a good therapist. And she's crying, and she's hurting, and I want to be open to that. And I want to be there with her, not get into my needing to be an effective therapist. Okay? I don't know that we can do our work without having all of us in there, in that room. And in there in such a way that we're able to connect with other human beings through our own weaknesses, through our own failings, as well as through our strengths. So to me, it is as important that people who are wanting to be therapists to plumb the depths of their own humanity and learn how to work with that in therapy as it is to learn the theory and the technique.
Where would a person go to get training in neurostructural therapy? Are there workshops? Is there an institute?
I don't know. I have my own stuff that I do. I don't know how many other people are pulling in together the personal piece, the spiritual piece, together with the structural piece. Mm-hmm. I'm really not enamored of any particular school of therapy, including the structural. It's useful to me. It gives me some real insights. I'm as interested in other people's thinking and other people's insights as I am about the structural piece, and I'm always eager to learn from other people. Okay. I can't tolerate walls between schools of therapy. They're totally artificial. I think clarity of concept is one thing. Walls of allegiance is just doesn't belong. So my hope is that we will all learn from each other, and my hope is that there'll be more and more focus on therapists learning to use themselves in their therapy, whatever their school is.
So you don't have any structural family therapy sweatshirts for us?
No.
As a result of this?
No, I don't.
One of the things that I'm picking up and sensing with your approach to structural family therapy is that you really go way beyond the absence of problems. You move into the intimate. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about intimacy and how therapists facilitate intimacy amongst families and amongst couples?
It starts with learning about intimacy in yourself, in your own life, I think. Mm-hmm. It's for me, it's learning intimacy with my wife, learning intimacy with my daughter, which means learning something about what I do to get in the way of my being able to be intimate with my family, learning something about what I do to block them from trusting me and from being open with me. Okay? And as I learn a little bit about that, then I'm able to look at other people and say, wow, hey, I know that one.
Tried that.
You're protecting yourself, and you're substituting control for love. You can't have love and control in the same space. At least that's what I learned with myself. Mm-hmm. You want to get close to somebody, you got to begin to share control with that other human being. Mm-hmm. You've got to learn to share vulnerability with that other human being. And at the same time, you have to have a sense of who you are and what you're about. because you cannot get lost in that relationship. And all of that is intimacy. But what I'm basically saying is that I go in there very conscious of the relationship that I have with these people. I want to love these people.
So it's a modeling.
It's in my head is these are real human beings, and they're allowing me to join them in their journey, and I need to love these people. I need to care about these people. Not take responsibility from them. If they want to destroy themselves, that's up to them. But I want to care, even if it hurts, even if it disappoints me. I want to care. And now, from that place, let's struggle together.
And my guess is that if you don't take it to that place, then relapse is going to occur.
You will grab them by the hair up here, you will not have the entire person in your hands. Intimacy is about relating to the entire person.
But it also means that you have to have that presence with yourself in order to be able to do that.
It's essential.
Yeah.
I don't know any other way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's hard work, though. I mean, I just didn't jump in here. But it's so hard to stay in that place where you're at right now and maintain that and sustain it over a period of time. It seems like, there's so many clients and the need is so great and personal life is so hectic and the real world intrudes, except for snatches.
Well, let me tell you something. In a way, it's not hard. I mean, it's as hard as life is hard. Okay, life is always hard. But the way in which it's not hard is that I'm not just in there having to do with their problems and their lives. This is my life. They're part of my life today. And, I'm a human being, and I'm a decent human being, or I'm not, depending on whether I care about these people, depending on whether I extend myself, depending on whether I remain true to myself, even if it means I may lose them as clients. And I say to them, no, I don't like what you're doing. I'm not going to go along with it. Can I be true to myself? Can I connect with them? This is real life for me. I am challenging myself with every client that comes in. Right? I'm challenging myself to grow and to change. So it's not like my life is out there. Yes, my life is out there, but this is an integral part of living. So it's not a new way of thinking. It's not a draining. It's as draining as ordinary everyday life is draining. And hopefully it's something that's not draining. Hopefully it's more of a challenge to grow.
I have time for one more question.
I have a quick little question for you. You said before we started watching the film that you were looking at the session to see if you were able to stay connected to them. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that now that you've seen it?
I feel pretty good about that. The failure that I experienced was that I didn't stay as connected with Pam as I should have stayed. That towards the end of the session, if you watch my activity, okay, I forget Pam. And then I have to remind myself and go back and check in with her. Okay, I should have stayed more with her. I got caught up in their stuff, where she could get quiet, and they would act like she's not there, and she would behave like she's not there, and then I would forget. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute. This girl is there. What's wrong with you? Okay, that was not good. But that then tells me about the pathology in the family. It tells me something about me. It tells me something about the pathology. It says to me, okay, next time around, pay attention to that. And also pay attention to how hard it is to stay connected with her, because that'll tell you something about the changes that are taking place in this family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that if it's happening to you, it happens to them.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we need to stop. I'd like to thank you very much for letting us know about Harry J. Aponte and more than just structural family therapy. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Thank you.